Were you inside the house?
I don't recall, sir. I know I wasn't inside the house, but I don't recall if I was there on the property, because I received a phone call saying that Mr. Jackson is saying he has these symptoms. We need to contact a nurse or a doctor, so we contacted Dr. Lee.
Well, Michael Jackson was standing there when you called Sherilyn Lee, wasn't he?
No, sir.
He was?
No, sir.
Where was he?
I don't know, sir.
But you remember being outside?
I didn't say that.
Were you inside?
I was not inside his home. I might not even have been on the property, so I can't say I was outside of his home or inside of his home. I know for sure that I received a phone call. I don't know particularly where my location was.
And the phone call you received was from Michael Amir?
Yes.
And Sherilyn Lee?
No.
Do you know if Michael Amir spoke to Sherilyn Lee?
No, I don't.
You spoke to detectives on 2 different occasions, right? Right?
I'm sorry?
You spoke to detectives on 2 different occasions.
Yes.
In fact, you spoke to Detective Myers on 1 occasion and Scott Smith.
Yes.
And you never did tell him about this situation with Sherilyn Lee, did you? You didn't tell him the whole story.
Situation didn't come up.
But you did tell the police officers on June 25th that you knew that Dr. Murray was trying to help Michael Jackson because he couldn't sleep.
Yes.
How did you know that?
It's rumors.
Would it be fair to say that everybody knew? Everybody knew that that's what Dr. Murray was doing. Isn't that right?
I can't say one way or another. I can say it for myself.
Well, here you are, a new employee as of October 2009, right?
Yes.
And you knew.
2008.
October 2009 or
2008.
Thank you, Judge. 2008.
Yes.
And you knew, right?
This is almost 10 months into the job, but yes.
Did you talk to Michael Amir about it?
No, sir.
You never told him?
We never really discussed that. No, sir.
What about Alberto Alvarez?
I don't recall speaking to him about that either.
The house doesn't have any telephones in it, does it? The house? Doesn't have any landlines in it?
I don't believe so. No, sir.
And these paparazzi, they're pretty sneaky, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
They'll try all kinds of tricks to get inside the house and take the pictures.
Yes, sir.
Because they sell them.
Right.
So you have to be careful not to let just anybody come through the gates.
Yes.
If a police officer came to the gate, you wouldn't automatically let him in.
No.
Ambulance came to the gate, you wouldn't automatically let him in.
No.
You were not, though, there at the Carrollwood residence when Michael Amir called you.
No.
And I'm going to narrow it down. June 25th at somewhere around noon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You had gone to the bank, you said?
Yes.
How long had you been at Carrollwood? Well, let me back. When did you first get to the Carrollwood house for your shift?
Approximately a little after 11.
And then you left for the bank when?
A little after 12.
Was it normal for you to leave in the middle of a security shift to run errands?
Well, with my position, I wasn't house security. So the house security was already set up, and they protected and guarded the house. My job, I could leave for hours at a time if Mr. Jackson asked me to, or if I needed to, because I was the head of his security. I was mainly there for if we needed to go somewhere, he would call Michael, and I would set that up and we would begin to leave. But normally he gave us a little bit of an advance. Rarely to ever would he just pop up and want to leave. So I was able to fluctuate. If I needed to be there, I could be there. If I needed to go down the street, I could go down the street, and it really wasn't an issue. Was
there any specific request for a specific time on that surveillance tape?
I don't recall, sir. It was quite some time ago.
Was there anybody else besides you and this particular technician downloading the surveillance tape?
I don't remember, sir. Don't recall.
But whatever the LAPD would have gone away with would have been all that was available?
Not sure, sir.
Did you happen to see the amount of tape that was downloaded?
No,
surveillance tape?
No, sir.
First thing you did when you arrived at the Carrollwood address was to go to the front door. Is that correct?
At which time are you speaking of?
Well, after you came back, back a second. When Michael Amir called you to go back to Carrollwood, you went back to Carrollwood?
Yes.
And you were how many minutes away?
A few minutes, 5 or 7.
And you immediately turned around?
Yes.
And you took the exact same route back to Carrollwood?
Yes.
And you went through the front gate?
Correct.
Where the surveillance camera is?
Correct.
And you got out of your car? Did you get out of your car?
I was dropped off, as I said earlier. My wife was with me, so she dropped me at the front gate, and I entered, and that was when I approached the front door.
Why'd you go to the front door?
Because I was in a rush, and if you look at the setup, it would take me a few more seconds to come through the back door.
Did Michael Amir tell you to go through the front door?
I don't recall him specifically directing me which door to go through.
That was a decision you made?
Yes.
And then you went upstairs?
Correct.
I don't recall you testifying to this. You said the total number of times you went up and down the stairs. But you did go up and down the stairs twice after the first time, right? Oh, let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. How many times did you go up and down the stairs?
Approximately 4 to 5.
Okay. And do you recall each reason you went up and down the stairs?
For the most part.
Well, can you tell us?
Yes. The first time, as I stated earlier, was dealing with his children to get them out of sight. The next time was to get the vehicles. Another time was to bring the ambulance up. Another time was to prep the security for when we had to leave.
How soon after you arrived did the paramedics show up?
It's hard to say.
Was it somewhere in that period of time you're going up and down the stairs?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Now, each time you went up and down the stairs, you went into the room?
Yes.
And you surveyed the whole area in the room, right?
Yes.
It was a shocking experience.
Definitely.
Michael Jackson was lying there, his eyes were wide open, right?
Yes.
But you don't remember what was on the IV stand?
No, sir.
Did you see any oxygen tanks?
Don't recall.
Did you see any vials or needles or any medical paraphernalia at all?
Don't recall.
This is the second time you've testified.
Correct.
The first time you testified, did you recall then?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you recall when you talked to the police officers the second time?
No, sir. Not to my knowledge.
Do you happen to know where you were heading to when you left
No,
the
sir.
hospital?
I don't recall.
Do you happen to know how you wound up going to the Carrollwood residence?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh, okay. How is that?
We received a call from the security at the Carrollwood residence that we left there, and they were saying that the detectives arrived and they would like to ask some questions. So we immediately headed back that way.
So wherever you were heading, you immediately shifted to the Carrollwood residence?
Yes.
And all three of you, Alberto Alvarez, you, and Michael Amir Williams, went to the Carrollwood residence?
Yes.
And there at the Carrollwood residence, you spoke to police officers?
Yes.
At that at the Carrollwood residence, you had occasion to speak to Police Officer S. Abdul, Detective Abdul. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember where you were when you spoke to Detective Abdul?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where were you?
We were standing in front, slightly to the right of the front door. Maybe 30 minutes.
Maybe 30 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And that's when your wife came to pick you up?
No, sir.
What did you do then when you left?
The detective wanted to speak with the nanny, so we assisted them. I took him over to, I believe the children were at the Havenhurst address with the grandmother. So he wanted to speak. If I'm not mistaken, they were there. He wanted to speak with her, so we took him there, and he got a chance to interview the nanny.
Who's we?
Myself and the detective.
You went to Havenhurst?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been Haven. I don't recall the exact place that we went, but wherever the children were after their father passed away, we took him there because they were with the nanny, and he wanted to interview the nanny.
Was Alberto Alvarez there when you got there?
Not that I recall.
Did he show up there later?
I don't recall.
Do you know what detective you took to Havenhurst?
Yes, sir.
Who was it?
Abdul.
Abdul.
Yes, sir.
And you did see the children there?
Yes, sir.
So that was, wherever the children were, is where you took Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Let me, Mr. Muhammad, let me show you this photo marked as Defense Exhibit D. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Is it kind of shiny?
You want us to turn down lights?
Yeah, it's kind of shiny. Let me... You recognize yourself in this photo?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Is this C or B?
It's D.
All right. It's D as in Delta.
Yes, it's in Delta. You have a pointer?
Yes.
You want to show us where you are? Who are you talking with?
Detective Abdul.
Abdul.
Yes.
Who is this? You see Michael Amir Williams?
Yes.
Can you show us where he is? And who's he? Who's in front of Michael Amir Williams?
Alberto Alvarez.
Alberto Alvarez.
Yes.
With back toward us?
Yes.
Back towards us.
Yes.
And next to Alberto Alvarez, do you know who that gentleman is with the glasses hanging from his shirt?
No, sir.
Do you know who the coroner investigators were?
No, sir.
Did you talk to any of them?
Not that I recall.
This is going to be Defense E, Judge, Defense Exhibit E.
Thank you.
Echo. I'll show you this part of the picture here, Mr. Muhammad. Who are these two individuals?
That is Derek Cleveland, it appears to be,
Which one's Derek Cleveland?
with the black suit on.
All right.
And that is Eric Muhammad.
Eric Muhammad.
Yes.
Is related to you?
No, sir.
Is he?
In the gray suit. Yes, sir.
And how about here? Who are these two individuals?
It's myself, and with the hat on, that's Detective Abdul.
It's E, Echo, Judge.
Our larger side is on the right-hand side.